think I hear Herb coming now, Mother.
Well, it's about time.
Hi, honey. Hi.
Hi, dear. Your Mother's having dinner with us tonight.
Oh, that's swell. How's my favorite mother-in-law?
Thank you, Herbert. I'm very well.
Say, look what came in the mail today. The list of candidates for Man of the Year. And guess who's on the list?
Why, Herb, your name's on here. My Man of the Year.
Oh, there, hold everything. Don't get your hopes up.
Mother, did you see this? Herb's been nominated Man of the Year. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, I'm surprised. Well, look at all the important names on this list. You're in very impressive company here, Herb.
Yes, there are some important names on that list. I don't think I've got a chance to be named Man of the Year, Mother. I think I'll go and get cleaned up for dinner.
Mother, isn't it wonderful?
Well, it's certainly a surprise.
Aren't you proud of her? None of your other sons-in-law have ever been nominated Man of the Year before.
Well, of course I'm proud of Herb. He's a good provider. But you have to be realistic, my dear. How can anyone in Herb's business expect to compete for the Man of the Year award with the town banker and all those other important men?
Well, after all, Herb's a member of the city council. That ought to count for something.
Oh, I suppose it counts for something. Anyway, everyone says Herb was elected only because he was sponsored by Dr. Parrish, who's one of the richest men in town. So after all, it's Dr. Parrish who should get any credit that's due.
Mother, how can you say a thing like that?
Mother may be right. Doc Parrish was instrumental in getting me started in council work.
Say, Herb, the committee needs young, capable members. You're just the man. How about running for office?
What do I know about being a council member? Besides, who'd vote for me?
Don't be so modest. You've got more on the ball than most of the members I've known. As for getting votes, more people like you would respect you than you think. What's more, I'll help you all I can.
Maybe Dr. Parrish did help you get started, but it was your own ability that made you successful at it. More chicken, Herb?
No, thanks, dear. Delicious. You know, your daughter is the best cook in town.
She does cook very well. Who do you think will be elected Man of the Year, Herb?
Well, gee, I hadn't thought about it that much, Mother. I really couldn't say.
Well, I think George Byers will be elected. After all, he owns the town's biggest department store. And his wife has a cook. Didn't you once work for him, Herb?
Why, yes, I did. As a matter of fact, George gave me my start in the business world and taught me quite a bit about good merchandising.
Seems strange that you're in competition with him to be Man of the Year.
After all, they're both successful businessmen, and they're both active in community work. Is there anything unusual about that?
No, but just think. George Byers has at least 30 people working in his department store.
But what does that have to do with it?
Well, I don't know whether it has anything to do with it or not, but every man on that ballot, except maybe me, deserves to be elected Man of the Year. The men on that ballot were selected from more than 100 names. I just wonder how I got on it.
Oh, Herb, not you too. Why, you've as much right to be elected Man of the Year as anyone on that ballot. And everyone says if it hadn't been for Herb, that community chess drive would have been a flop. And look at all the work that Herb's done for the boys' club.
Yeah, how about that? Pop does more work than anybody in the club.
Thanks, team. But don't forget, the man who started the boys' club and devotes more time to it than anyone else is Sam Williams. Now, he got me interested in it. He's another man on that ballot.
Well, isn't Peter a member of that boys' club? Seems to me any conscientious father should want to participate with his own son.
Well, Teddy Walker's in the club, and I never see his dad come around. His name's on the list, too.
Well, Mr. Walker's a very busy man doing important work. He's a banker. On second thought, perhaps he should be elected Man of the Year. Every time I see him at the bank, he's so charming and helpful and courteous, too.
Oh, Fred's a great guy. In fact, If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be in the service station business today.
Really? What do you mean?
Well, when I first got out of the Army, I had a little money saved, and I wanted to get into business for myself, so I could get going on my own and marry Helen. But I didn't know which way to turn until I went to see Fred Walker at the bank. He gave me just the advice I needed. He helped me take stock of myself. He helped me recognize what I could do and what I wanted to do. Fred came up with some good suggestions. Considering the money I had to invest and my past experience, the service station business seemed to be a good one to take a look at. That's when Fred helped me get in touch with Bill Thompson.
Thompson. Bill Thompson. That name is on the ballot, too. I've heard it somewhere, but I can't place it. Who's he?
Bill's a good friend of ours. He works for the oil company whose products Herb sells.
I saw Bill today, Ellen. He sends his regards. He dropped by with a fellow he's tried to interest in that new station out on Post Road. It reminded me of myself 14 years ago, when Bill helped me get started. This young fella wanted to know everything, so I gave him the $5 tour. I told him all about the help I get from Bill in advertising and promotion, in station management and planning. When I told him the kind of money I'd been making, he could hardly wait to get started with Bill. If Bill does as much for him as he's done for me, that fella can't help but succeed. You know, if anyone on that ballot deserves my vote, it's Bill Thompson. Not only for all the things he's done for the community, but for all the help he's given me personally.
Well, Bill owes you a lot, too. When he was made district manager, he told me he never would have gotten that promotion if it hadn't been for men like you backing him up.
Well, all this talk about Man of the Year is fine. But this is Friday night, and I've got to get back to the station. See you all later.
So long, Pop.
I don't see why you put up with Herb spending so much time at that station of his. You'd think he was more interested in this than in his own family.
After all, if a man wants to get ahead, he has to work for it. Why, I'll bet Herb works no longer than most men who are in business for themselves.
I don't know why Mother has to be so obstinate. After you left, all she could talk about was how you didn't have a chance to be Man of the Year. Believe me, it was almost a pleasure to take her home.
Oh, honey, are you on that again? You know, she may be right. Oh, sure, it'd be nice to be Man of the Year, but after all, what chance do I have? Now, there's no point in building up your hopes. Well, it's almost midnight. I'm going to bed. What a dreamer that Ellen is. Me, Man of the Year. What chance do I have against the town banker and the leading merchant and an outstanding doctor? Why not, Herb? Did you ever stop to think of all the services you give at your place of business? How about all the financing and credit work you do? Why, you're practically a banker to many people. How about all the selling and merchandising you do? You spend a lot of time being a merchant. When you're diagnosing a motorist's problems, have you ever thought of yourself as doctor of automotive medicine? You're doing very necessary work in a very necessary business. I just think what would happen if service stations suddenly disappeared, like that. So you see, people know your work is important. You've got a good chance to be chosen Man of the Year. Yeah, maybe you're right. I can see myself now, Man of the Year. Hey, stop that bushing! Watch out there!
Herb, come on, get up. Getting late.
What? Oh. What a dream I had last night. It was the craziest thing.
What'd you dream, Pop?
Silliest thing you ever heard of. I dreamt I was elected Man of the Year.
Well, I don't see why you think it's so silly.
Sure, Pop. Where's the old fighting spirit?
Why, you've as much chance as any man on that ballot.
If you're good enough to be a candidate, you're good enough to be elected.
Not a chance in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the results of our Man of the Year voting. But before I announce a winner, I'd like to say a few words. Now, as you know, this year we nominated 6 men as candidates for this honor. Any one and every one of these 6 men could be and should be our Man of the Year. They all deserve this distinction. They've all worked for Springfield. They've all helped others. They've all contributed to making our community a better place in which to live. It's only with this kind of spirit of service that our town can ever be the kind of place we all want to live in. So with your permission, I'd like to thank these 6 gentlemen. Now, to announce the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, the man you've chosen as Springfield's Man of the Year is Herb Johnson.
I knew Herb could do it all the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know what to say. I'm flabbergasted. So, thanks.
Come on, Herb.
There is something I'd like to say. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm grateful. But you know, nobody succeeds by himself. Every man on the ballot deserves to be elected, because every man on that ballot and many other people in our town have helped me get to the place where I could even be considered a candidate for Man of the Year. I, for one, am starting right now to help the next man achieve this distinction. And I hope that all of you continue to do the same.